Hi world. This is my first time posting a video in a while since moving into my little jungle house here. My bamboo door, newly crafted, and my bamboo roof, living on a bamboo farm out in the jungle on the east side of Maui. And I feel inspired to talk about conflict resolution and emotional coherence, which is something that has been really coming up for me to share. And for me personally, dealing with some things in my life and feeling challenged by another's unwillingness to work through whatever it is, the trauma, the bullshit, whatever it is. But for me, it's a big learning to accept when someone doesn't want to actually work through something that is arising in the present moment reality, which has the ability to heal the past in a timeless way. Whatever comes up in the present moment is our doorway to resolution across all timelines. And so sometimes for me, I'm really challenged by a situation that may come up in life when a trigger happens and I see it as an opportunity, and the other person is just a no to working through it and to taking the opportunity of resolution. And so I get many opportunities in my life to explore these things and these dynamics through various levels of what I would perceive as conflict avoidant or emotionally avoidant scenarios. As a person that oftentimes reflects challenging, I challenge people just by being me. Basically, it's been a lifelong experience of mine, and I've learned over time not to take it personally because I see the gift and the value of the realization that we are creators of our reality. And if someone comes into our life and gets a rise out of us, it's not for them, it's for us. And so I really learn to hold a space of compassion when these experiences and these moments are revealing a wound for me or for someone else, but usually it's mutual. You know, whatever the reflection or the projection is, it's usually mutual, and there's a mutually healing opportunity for each person to dive into. And the divine orchestration of the universe puts us in front of the people that perfectly match the complementary traumas that we carry so that they can find resolution and resolve, so that we don't have to continue to hold on to them or suffer from them, but that we can actually find freedom from these experiences. And so earlier today I was working with a friend, and I had this experience where he said to me that I was creating conflict, and I got to remind him that everything is a co-creation and conflict already exists here, and my intention and my desire is to resolve the conflict. And in doing so, in breaching that invitation, I realized that it's actually deeply conditioned within our society to misunderstand conflict resolution as conflict itself, as aggression itself, because we are programmed to not go there. Don't have the difficult conversations. It's painful. I don't want to experience pain again, so I'm just not going to talk about it. Going to sweep it under the rug. I don't want to feel that it's all someone else's fault or something is being done to me, and whatever the story is, right? But just that in the moment of resolution through the gift of a trigger, we're conditioned to push that away and to avoid that. But what that actually does is creates more pain within us. And anytime that we think it was somebody else, it's us being reflected in the external world of what has yet to be resolved. And a trigger is actually a gift. And when someone has the capacity to trigger us, or we have the capacity to trigger someone else, it's an incredible honor that this person has reflected an unresolved wound to us. And we're all allies here, helping each other along, resolving these wounds. And, it's, as I said, it's really challenging when I see this beautiful opportunity of, oh, okay, the wound is up, the trigger is up, and we can get to the root of it right now in the present moment, and it never has to repeat a pattern again. But I realize that a lot of people, most people, me included, I've had to learn on my own terms, because emotional intelligence, I prefer to call it emotional coherence, because intelligence leads to the idea that it's in the mind, and I like to see it as a fully embodied somatic emotional integration, so I call it emotional coherence. And these things are happening all of the time, and it's not taught to us. It's something we have to sort of decode on our own if we are involved and committed to evolutionary consciousness and resolution of the things that are not who we actually are, but the identities that we have created from the conditioned responses of the ego. And we all have our own sets of wounds, and really this is an invitation to remember that anytime something comes up, we are not a victim to that experience, but in fact we are a co-creator of that experience, to get to know ourselves ever more deeply, and the other that is involved in such a reflection is bringing us a gift and an offering, and we can say yes to it or we can say no to it. And some people choose to say no to it for their entire lives and then have to come back and do it again. And there's some innocence in that, because we have been at this day and time, in this era, we have been dealt a hand where we just don't have the tools inherent, and we're remembering, we're relearning what it means to show up and say yes for that fully embodied experience of collaborative healing. And I'm learning in my own ways. We are all catalysts for each other. And I'm learning how to respect when people say no to healing and say no to the opportunity, because I'm reminded so humbly and so compassionately that it's no one's fault that we were just not taught how to have the emotional coherence that it requires to open up vulnerably, to claim our wounds, to hold accountability and responsibility for the things that are arising in our reality that are 100% our creation. our soul and our spirit joining in union to bring us closer to our divine nature through the reflection of all of our brothers and sisters collaborating in this life experience with us. And I just wanted to offer that because I feel that these experiences that I have on a personal level is bringing me closer to the passion that I have around triggers and trauma and emotional coherence, and how I can invite more of that, not just in my community, but also touching every person that I meet, whether I meet them in person or not. So that's why I'm bringing this to the social media platform, to introduce this conversation, to bring us deeper into a self-inquiry of what does it mean when a difficult situation arises, and how do I want to respond to it? What can I do as as an act of self-care to really lean into it just a little bit more than I would normally, to not assume that I'm being attacked or that I need to defend anything, but just to trust the universe that this situation is being brought to me because I need it. I'm bringing the situation. I'm co-creating the situation because I need it. And how can we invite more trust to everything that comes into our reality? Because the present moment is where all the healing happens. Thanks for listening, watching, being present. I would love to know what this brings up in you. I'm also available to support deeper on any and all of these topics. I'm feeling really called to dive deeper into how I can invite more emotional coherence and embodied integration of these things. So may we all learn how to trust ourselves and each other more deeply, so that we can recognize that we are allies of growth and healing in this experience that we call life.